All right, welcome back. All right, I got my man back on the set with me, joining with me, Mr. Ruben Diaz. Ruben, did you have to take a bathroom break for that first segment?
First of all,
my man had to go, didn't he?
I was not in the bathroom. I was in a meeting with our boss talking about getting you fired.
The principal's office. I'm undeniable over here. Many have tried and many have failed.
I'm just saying, you might want to get a box ready. Get a box ready.
My feet up for this one. I'm undeniable. But nevertheless, as always, one of my favorite parts of the 24th floor. We have to bring in the man that you can't talk Ole Miss Athletics without. You can watch him right here on the 24 Plus app. He's the host of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, which you can catch right here on the 24 Plus app, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcast. Welcome again to the program, Mr. Stephen Willis.
There it is. How you guys doing?
Not bad, not bad. I'm just enjoying this final day with Richard as he gets ready to get fired. He got a box in the office there ready for him.
Wow. Now, is it one of those like white boxes that you see on TV, or is it like one of those moving boxes? I mean,
no, it's a white box.
Out?
Just little. Okay. The white box is really just the lid. You know, it's not the full box. It's just the lid of the box that's got the handles. Yeah, we got that ready for him. He's got his name on it and everything.
All right, outstanding.
Well, Stephen, as a wrestling fan, I have to kind of take a nod to my guy, Cody Rhodes. He likes to say this thing, what do you want to talk about? So that's what we'll just start calling these segments with you, my friend. What do you want to talk about in the world of Ole Miss Athletics?
I want to talk about the national media is kind of catching up on the hype of this football team. It took a little bit. It took a minute. But they are finally catching on. You've heard Greg McElroy call them criminally underrated. Josh Pate says that they're a playoff team. They got put in Brad Crawford's playoff bracket. So the hype is starting to build because people are actually looking at the players that are coming back on this roster. And my whole thing is with this Ole Miss team, for some reason, it was always the Jimmies and the Joes until it wasn't. And because of what went on last November, everybody said, well, Ole Miss is going to drop off. And then you look at it and it's like, hey, they've got the best backfield in the country. I think we need to hold off on that whole drop-off thing.
Yeah, what do they say? It's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. Isn't that the old saying? So with this team, though, even though people are just now starting to catch on, does it shock anybody if you really ultimately really are watching with the people they have coming back, with the fact they didn't miss a beat in the coaching change, right? In fact, won a playoff game in the coaching change. So does it really shock you at all?
No, it doesn't shock me at all. I mean, Trinidad Chambliss getting his case approved back in February and March and all of that, that was the main key. That's what made this team a playoff team. Because if Trinidad Chambliss hadn't made it back for Ole Miss, Deuce Knight was going to be a good quarterback, but now you're talking about this Ole Miss team being a 20 to 25 level team. With Trinidad Chambliss, this is a national championship contender. And as long as you keep the Ferrari on the road and let Kewan Lacey do what he does, and with the defense coming back that's supposed to be really good, I think this team is going to be better than 2025. Now, the question becomes then, what does the record look like? Because with the difficulty of the schedule in 2025, you can be a better team and have a worse record. But as Brad Crawford said, 9-3 with this Ole Miss team, with this schedule that they have, this could be the SEC team that gets into the playoff even at 9-3 because of how hard the schedule looks like.
Well, we talk so much about Trinidad Chambliss, and so I think something that we need to probably talk more about is Kewan Lacey. He had a phenomenal season last year. Like I said, he was in the running for Doak Walker, but as we know, he had some lingering lower body issues with his knee and with his leg, and I was wondering, okay, if he misses time, Ole Miss was able to kind of keep the water going, carry water without him. Do they have the depth at running back that they can afford for Kewan Lacey to miss significant time and put it all on Trinidad to kind of get it done?
Yeah, this offense looked really different in the second and third quarter of the Miami game whenever he wasn't able to go.
Yeah.
So Pete Golding went into the transfer portal, got Mekhi Frazier from Michigan State, good running back. He's kind of a thumper, if you want to look at it that way. He went and got Josh Dye out of Southern Utah, an FCS guy that ran for 2,000 yards and nearly 30 touchdowns with Southern Utah. And JT Lindsey came in with Frank Wilson from LSU. They think they have more depth. They want to be able to run the ball whenever number 5 is not in the game. That's what Pete Golding said. Whenever 5's not there, you need the defense to know that, hey, we might run the football, because it was all pass when he wasn't there a year ago. So Ole Miss thinks it is there. They got some high pedigree guys with multiple years of eligibility to go through the system. They have Shakai Mills-Knight, who went to the Baylor School in Chattanooga, who I think Pete Golding called his size-speed ratio elite. That means he's a big guy that can really move. So they think they have the pieces to do it, but you're right. Keywan Lacey, who ran for 1,567 yards and 24 touchdowns and was a Doak Walker finalist, he's going to be the bell cow. But what happens if he has to come out of the game for a little bit, which is going to happen over a 15, 16-game football season?
Let's switch gears a little bit, Stephen. And you said something earlier. You said they think they're going to have a better defensive team this year. So, last year the theme was kind of like, hey, you just got to outscore everybody, right? You're not going to stop everybody. Just get get more points than everybody else. What makes you feel like this year's team is going to actually be better, maybe be one of those SEC stoppers this year?
The front seven for Ole Miss last year was really, really good, but it was masked by the fact that Ole Miss could not play man coverage.
Yes.
And
yes. Oh
that became the issue for Pete Golding going into this transfer portal window. The first thing they did, they went and got Jay Crawford, who was the top corner for the top defense in the SEC at Auburn a year ago. So he's supposed to be like the Trey Amos level player. And you move Antonio Kite to the number 2 corner, and all of a sudden that position is taken care of. So what happens about safety? Ole Miss picked up Janelle Aguero, who went to Georgia, a former 5-star. They picked up Edwin Joseph, a Florida State player that was really good, kind of a ball hawk. And they picked up Sharif Denson, who honestly was a really good corner at Florida, but Ole Miss, they're going to ask him to fill the same role that, I don't know if anybody's listening, but what John Saunders did, if you know that name. So there's a little bit of consistency added to the backfield, a lot of man-to-man coverage ability. So you can line up and say, hey, these guys are going to be at man coverage. We're going to let this front seven kind of work, because you have Walter Nolan, the Sugar Bowl defensive player of the game. Keaton Thomas and Luke Farrelly, really good players at linebacker, and then Cam Franklin and Will Eccles is going to be very good. And they brought in Blake Purchase and Renaud from Alabama to line up on the edge. So they should be a more dominant front seven than they were a year ago. Plus you add in the ability to play man-to-man coverage, and they have a chance to be pretty good.
I'm so glad you hit the nail on the head, because that man coverage killed them against Miami. And so that was something that I always saw, and obviously you remember that first Georgia game, they didn't get off the field. They couldn't force any points. So while we talk a lot about that Ole Miss offense, it's just hard to me to see a team sustain that level of play without the defense being able to win you some games. So I'm so glad you touched on that.
Yeah, Pete Golding said you don't win the last game unless you can play man coverage.
Yep.
And he was talking about the national title game. And that's pretty cool that Pete's having that ramp. But I guess when you're 19 seconds away from getting to the national title game, you can have those conversations. I mean, it's kind of a rarefied air for Ole Miss, but the back end of that defense is going to be huge, because the front end of this defense is massively elite, maybe better than they were in 2024.
So I know we have to get off here, but I'm going to make my quick point before we do. The reason, for those at home who maybe don't understand why man coverage is so important in this situation, is because if you can't mask, hide, or change your coverages pre-snap, if the other team knows you've got to run cover 2, cover 3, or quarters, good quarterbacks can pick that apart. Good quarterbacks can pick apart zone coverage if you just give them enough time. And so being able to go man and having to make those quarterbacks make decisions post-snap as opposed to pre-snap is a huge advantage for your defense. So there you go.
And it's going to make them much more explosive.
Yep.
It's always interesting to me when we talk about man coverage in football versus basketball, because in basketball, I want that matchup. I want the one-on-one. In football, it's like, maybe I want to guard this guy. Help, bring some help. It's funny. Steven, really quick, we touched on football, but obviously baseball and softball is going on. Could you give us a quick update on how Ole Miss is rocking in baseball right now?
Ole Miss had an upset in the first round of the softball SEC tournament against South Carolina, 2-0. They're kind of getting hot at the right time. The SEC softball list, usually every team gets into the NCAA tournament, so we'll see how that looks. Ole Miss has 2 weekends left against Texas A&M and Alabama. In baseball, Ole Miss needs to win both series if they want to host. 3-3 is not going to be good enough as well. So we'll see how that goes as this sports calendar for Ole Miss in this academic year kind of wraps up.
It's sad that just college athletics is ending. Steven, really quickly, tell the people, what are you working on?
We are talking about the hype. We are getting ready for football season. We're going to be at SEC Media Days, so we're going to start looking at storylines that we can touch on there and start building what's going on. You can catch us at the Locked On Ole Miss YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcast. Join the Everydayer Club, where we have some coach breakdowns, different people contributing to the site. That is the Everydayer Club.
The Everydayer Club. All right, Steven, as always, we appreciate your time. We will join you again to say, what do you want to talk about with Ole Miss? All right, we'll take a quick break. We are back after this.